Smoke and carbon monoxide alarms or detectors are a big component nowadays in residential, in any living dwelling unit. It's a requirement to make sure that those are up to code. And so if you're doing like a remodel or something, maybe you're even just putting in like a bathroom. As an inspector, when we show up, any new remodel that's interior based, we're going to ask you to bring your smoke and CO detectors up to code. Now, if you're just putting in a window or you're doing some exterior work, some siding or some roofing, we wouldn't necessarily ask for that. But keep in mind, if you are doing some type of remodel work, that we're going to ask you to make sure that that's up to code. As an inspector, and that's cheap insurance, right? It can save a life. I know they always seem to go off at 2 in the morning. The battery always seems to go off regardless and wake you up and you want to throw it across the room. But in the grand scheme of things, if there was to ever become a fire, if anything was to ever happen, you were to get some carbon monoxide in the house, it could save a life. And at the end of the day, it's a lot cheaper than having to lose someone's life. And so regardless of if you have to get a permit or not, I always suggest make sure your smoke and CO detectors are up to code, they're in the right places, and at least, if nothing else, that your battery is charged and good to go. So what does this mean, right? You've got this existing house, maybe you're putting in a new addition. What do you have to do, all right? Well, because nowadays, any new construction, all smoke and CO detectors are hardwired together, right? It means if one goes, they all go. So if you're down in the basement and a fire sparks and that alarm goes off, the whole house is going to go off. Same thing with carbon monoxide. Well, you have this existing house. It's already drywalled. What do you do? Well, code up until 2021, so 2018 and back, would say that you only need to hardwire where you have access to it. So if you had the ability to run through an attic, if you already had the walls opened up and you can run wires, that you should do that. In the areas that you can't get to, battery backup only is okay, meaning that only that one specific battery or that one specific alarm is not connected to the rest of the system. It's just a battery operated smoke or CO alarm. Okay. But it's important to remember when you have everything opened up to run wiring for smoke and CO detectors. Okay. That would be not fun if your inspector was to show up and say, hey, by the way, you needed to hardwire these in and you've already drywalled the house or something like that. Okay. Again, it's cheap insurance. So, just do it if you can. I do a lot of inspections for people just putting a bathroom in their house or remodeling their kitchen. Well, they didn't open up that many walls. So really at the end of the day, it's like, hey, let's just make sure your stuff's up to code. You have them in the right spots, but you can use battery backup for all of them. 2021 code, because I'm under the 2021 code, so any states that have adopted that, they actually require them all to be interconnected. So not necessarily hardwired, but interconnected, because technology is advanced. You can now do wireless smoke and CO alarms, detectors, and if one goes, then they all go. So that could be quite an additional cost if your inspector requires that, because you're talking about a complete wireless system for your entire house if you didn't open up all your ceilings or walls to hardwire it. So keep that in mind if you are under the 2021 code. If you're under that, most likely battery backup is going to be just fine if you haven't opened up that area. So where are these things supposed to be? Okay. Well, they're supposed to be in each bedroom. Okay. Smoke alarms. So we're talking about just smoke alarms here. Smoke alarms would be in each bedroom and then adjacent to, which would be the hallway outside of it or the vicinity within that opening of that bedroom door. So if you have a hallway with a bunch of bedrooms down that hallway, you could probably put one smoke alarm out in that hallway and one in each bedroom. But maybe you've got it broken up. Maybe you've got bedrooms on one side, bedrooms on the other side. Well, then technically you need to have smoke alarms outside each of those and in the bedrooms. Where else? You would need a smoke alarm on each floor. Okay, so if you don't have any bedrooms, then technically you don't have to put them in the bedrooms and adjacent to, but you need to have one per floor. Okay, you'd also, in a vaulted ceiling, okay, so smoke rises, and if you have a fire going on, that upper portion of that vault is going to fill with smoke first. So if your vault is over 24 inches, so if it, in the vertical height, so you have a flat roof and then you have a vault, if it goes up 24 inches, you need to put an additional smoke alarm up in there as well. So that would kind of cover the basics, right, on where to put your smoke alarms. They don't necessarily want them near cooking appliances. You think, well, what if I have a fire at my oven? Well, you also have cooking smoke and grease and stuff like that that can set them off. Nowadays, smoke alarms, the technology is a lot smarter, and so I think you can get closer to cooking equipment, but as the code says, it wants you to stay a little bit of a ways away from that cooking equipment. So not necessarily in the kitchen, maybe around the corner or something like that, right? That's the basics on smoke alarms. And I'll show you the code and I'll show you a few pictures and stuff, but that really is the basics. Each bedroom, adjacent to, I think they want you to stay, we'll look at the code, but I think it's like 3 feet away from bathroom door openings. So maybe you have a hallway and you got a bathroom with a bunch of bedrooms, you know, keep that smoke alarm kind of a little bit a ways from the opening of the bathroom. Because if you open the door and a ton of steam comes out, might set that alarm off. They don't want that to be a false alarm for you. Yeah, that should about cover it for smokes. What about carbon monoxide, right? So carbon monoxide is required to have an alarm on one per floor, and they usually want it in the vicinity or adjacent to the bedrooms. So a lot of people, a lot of contractors will install a combination. So it does both, it detects both carbon monoxide and smoke in that hallway outside the bedrooms. And it's one per floor minimum, right? But if your bedrooms are all, you know, separate sides, then you should probably have carbon monoxide alarms on each side in the vicinity of the bedrooms, okay? Or one per floor. You know, if you have a not a crawl space, but like a basement, maybe even it's just a mechanical area basement, you should still put in a smoke and a CO detector. It's a floor, okay? Attic spaces that are conditioned that you go up into, probably should have a smoke and CO detector in them. So carbon monoxide, one per floor, outside the bedrooms. Smoke alarms, a little more intricate, but that's really the basics when it comes to smoke and CO detectors. So I'll just kind of cruise through the code a little bit, show you a few pictures. You know, smoke alarms, battery backup. You can see on here, it doesn't read anything. It's just a smoke alarm. There's nothing red on there, okay? Same with like this brand right here, right? There's just tells you, you know, the brand name, you know, you have your testing on off type stuff. You can put your battery in there so that'll go off at 2 in the morning. But then here is like, you can see right here, it says smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. So this is a combo, right? So this would be something that you would put on the out in the hallway. It would meet that requirement. Now it doesn't have to be a combo. You can go buy a carbon monoxide alarm that's plug-in or battery operated or something like that. But now if it's battery operated, it's not interconnected, okay? Versus this, if you hardwired it in, it's interconnected. So you may not meet that requirement if you're doing something new. If it's like a remodel, a lot of people will just buy like a battery one or a plug-in one and they'll just put it down low. Carbon monoxide, I believe, is a heavier gas and it's actually down low. So maybe having it down lower would be a better situation. Just depends on your preference. So let's see here. So smoke alarms. This is just kind of tell you smoke alarms shall be provided in accordance with this section. Here they're talking about where alterations, repairs, or additions requiring a permit occur, the individual dwelling unit shall be equipped with smoke alarms located as required for new dwellings, right? So new dwellings, that's where I was kind of saying if you do any type of remodel work inside, even if it's just remodeling your bathroom, they're telling you, well, you need to bring your smoke and CO detectors up to code as you would if it was a brand new dwelling, which would be hardwiring everything, right? So exceptions are work involving exterior surfaces, right? Replacement of roofing, siding, windows, porch deck, installation, alteration, repairs of plumbing or mechanical systems. So those are the exceptions. So they're telling you need to bring all your smoke and COs up to code, except if you're doing those things. If you're just doing a plumbing or mechanical alteration, or if you're doing exterior work. Here's locations for smokes. So in each sleeping room, like we talked about, outside each sleeping room area in the immediate vicinity of the bedrooms. On each additional story, smoke alarms shall be installed not less than 3 feet horizontal from a door opening of a bathroom that contains a bathtub or shower, right? You're getting all that steam in there. Here they're talking about near cooking appliances right here. So they're just saying these are different types of smoke alarms. They're telling you here you need to be 20 feet away. You're saying 10 feet away. Photoelectric smoke alarms shall be not less than 6 feet away. Again, I've just kind of stay away from your cooking area. Maybe put it around the corner or something like that if that's your floor doesn't already have one, because there's bedrooms on that floor. You still need one per floor, but maybe you kind of put it a little ways away from your cooking area. Interconnection right here, it says where more than one smoke alarm is required. Within individual dwelling units, the alarm devices shall be interconnected. So that's hardwiring them. It's saying that you can use combination smoke and CO alarms shall be permitted and used in lieu of just smoke alarms. Power source. So here they're just getting into power source, that it must be connected to the panel, right? So you pick a circuit that can handle the additional wattage, the additional power, and you can connect it right into that. I've seen situations where you turn off the lights in one of your houses and it just happens to be the circuit they put the smoke alarms on, so your smoke alarms turn off and then they all start chirping at you and telling you that it lost power. I've also seen a direct circuit where the panel says smoke and fire alarms or CO alarms. Just needs to be hooked up to power. CO detectors. So carbon monoxide alarms, again, shall comply with. Carbon monoxide alarms shall be listed. New construction. For new construction, carbon monoxide alarms shall be provided in the dwelling units, whether either or both of the following conditions exist. Okay, so when it comes to carbon monoxide alarms, you might say, well, I just live in an apartment. I don't need carbon monoxide alarms. So you could be correct, right? In these two situations, you do need them. If you do not have these situations, then yeah, you could get away with not putting them in. I would suggest at least putting in a few of them if you're not required, because you never know. So if you have a fuel burning appliance, okay, so if you have any gas, if there's a gas meter at your house, you need carbon monoxide alarms, okay? If you have an attached garage, you need carbon monoxide alarms, right here. So the dwelling unit has an attached garage with an opening that communicates with the dwelling unit, right? So, I mean, it could be an attached garage, but you have to go outside to get in your house. Well, you could argue that you don't need it. But nowadays, most places have gas appliances, unless it's like an apartment, and they probably don't have an attached garage to it. So an apartment, you probably get away with not needing it. Otherwise, for most instances, you're going to need carbon monoxide alarms. I do a lot of inspections on new apartments in our area, and they put in carbon monoxide alarms anyways, just to be safe. So again, here it's where alterations, repairs, additions require a permit occur. The individual dwelling unit shall be equipped with carbon monoxide alarms located as required in the new dwelling. Okay, so we just talked about new construction, when you need them. It says, and then here is same stuff, same exceptions, right? If you're doing exterior work or plumbing or mechanical stuff, then you don't need to necessarily update your remodel. Carbon monoxide alarms in dwelling units shall be installed outside of each separate sleeping area in the immediate vicinity of the bedrooms. Where a fuel burning appliance is located within a bedroom or is attached bathroom, a carbon monoxide alarm shall be installed within the bedroom. If somehow you have access through your bedroom to some type of mechanical equipment, you need to put in a carbon monoxide alarm in the bedroom as well as out in the hallway or the adjacent to the bedrooms. Interconnectivity, where one or more carbon monoxide alarm is required, they shall be interconnected. So same as the smoke alarms. smoke and CO detectors, you know, they may be required at different rates or different locations. There might be exceptions like on the carbon monoxide alarms, but at the end of the day, you're going to want to make sure that they're interconnected if you can, and just be aware that if you hop up to the 2021 code, they might ask you to actually put in some type of wireless interconnected system. So keep that in mind. A few more pictures. So here's an example of a house, and so this SD here. So SD would be smoke detector. Okay, out here is SDCO, smoke CO, smoke detector. Here they've got a bedroom den, so their smoke detector. They have another smoke CO right there. Okay, they're not within the vicinity of the cooking appliances. It does look like this is the trusses are vaulted in this particular area, so they might end up having to add another one up in here. Just depends. But you can see they're away from the bathrooms. You know, they've stayed away from this bathroom. Pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot to it. Let's see here. So I kind of showed you some pictures. Carbon smoke alarm. Here's another example of a combo. Here's an example of a smoke detector inside the bedroom, and then you can kind of see the one right there outside the bedroom in the hallway. Right there. So it's like, wow, I have all these smoke alarms. They're all right there. It's like, well, if your door's shut and there's a fire out in the hallway, you want that alarm to go off, versus maybe if the door's shut and the fire starts in the bedroom, they want that alarm to go off. So just trying to cover all bases there. Here would just be wiring. So wiring is typically going to be done with like a 14-3 wire. 14-3 means that there's like 3 wires and a ground. And so that way you have an extra wire to carry power to all of them. If you do 14-2, you're not going to have enough wires to make sure they all stay interconnected. Make sure you run that right wire. It's no fun to go back. I actually did it. Ran the wrong wire, had to go back, take it out, put in 14-3 so I could interconnect all of them. Again, just another example of a box install that'll be a smoke alarm or a combo when it's all installed. Here's just kind of the cheap battery powered one that people put in to meet the requirement. It's a smoke alarm, meets the requirements in a bedroom. They've done what they needed to do. So there's your basics on smoke and CO detectors, alarms. Just, you know, as an inspector, as a homeowner, just put them in. It's cheap insurance, could save a life. And, you know, just think it'll only wake you up maybe once a year, like 2 in the morning. That's it. Okay. We could handle that, I think. Or just set your in your phone, in your calendar every year, just put on there to swap out your batteries and your smoke alarms, and then you know you don't have to worry about it. All right. So hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully you get this video if you're doing any type of home remodel work and it doesn't catch you off guard kind of in the 11th hour if your inspector tells you you got to bring your smoke and CO detectors up to code.